Inside a bustling martial arts training hall, Su Hong aggressively sparred with his partner. After exchanging a flurry of heavy blows, the partner rubbed his bruised arms, noting that Su Hong had finally reached the subtle mastery level of the Vajra fist. The third of the 5 stages any martial art could be divided into: entry mastery, proficient, subtle, grand achievement, and perfect completion. He praised Su Hong's unmatched skill in the class before declaring he was exhausted, packing his bags, and heading home to eat. Shortly after, Teacher Li approached Su Hong, reminding him that the 30,000 yuan registration fee for the martial science exam was due by next Monday. Pleading for a few more days, Su Hong was met with a sympathetic but firm refusal. The school's rules could not be bent. Frustrated, Su Hong furiously punched the air, haunted by the massive fee. He had lived with his aunt and uncle since losing his parents in a beast disaster at age 3. Recognizing his talent, his adoptive family had fully supported his martial arts training, a highly lucrative profession in this dangerous era. Yet, Su Hong felt a crushing guilt, knowing his ambitions were only making their daily lives harder. Standing outside his apartment door that evening, he overheard his aunt and uncle discussing their dire finances. His uncle offered to stop taking his medicine to save money, a sacrifice his aunt vehemently refused, offering to take on a second job instead just to pay for Su Hong's registration. Masking his grief, Su Hong entered the apartment, declined a warm offer for dinner by claiming exhaustion, and retreated to his bedroom. Lying in the dark, he resolved to solve the problem himself, so his family wouldn't have to suffer. He knew of only one place to earn tens of thousands of yuan in just a few days. The next day, Su Hong entered an underground fighting arena disguised in a minotaur mask. A loud announcer introduced him to the roaring crowd, explaining that 4 consecutive wins would secure a 60,000 yuan prize. Prompted by the announcer to hype up the spectators, Su Hong arrogantly declared himself invincible to the crowd, inciting a wave of angry insults and death threats. Undeterred by the heavy killing intent, Su Hong faced his first opponent. He quickly analyzed the man's unstable stance, easily dodging a strike before knocking him out with a single devastating palm thrust. His second opponent confidently challenged him next. Testing the power of his diamond fist, Su Hong clashed directly with the man's strike. Realizing the opponent's punch was weaker and left his midsection completely exposed, Su Hong landed a brutal body blow that instantly ended the match. After the announcer declared Su Hong's 3rd consecutive victory, a wealthy boss watching from a VIP room praised the rookie's exceptional strength. Seeing a perfect opportunity for match fixing, the boss ordered a subordinate named White Fox to recruit the boy, explicitly warning him not to reveal his true status as a warrior. Su Hong prepared for his final match, confident he only needed one more win to secure the prize. The crowd reacted in shock as White Fox entered the ring, gossiping that it was cheating for a quasi-warrior to fight in this tier. Realizing the difficulty gap, Su Hong decided to go all out on his first move. However, as he launched a heavy strike, White Fox casually blocked it. Su Hong panicked, realizing his opponent's power far exceeded a quasi-warrior. White Fox was a true warrior deliberately suppressing his energy. Unleashing a Thunder Rush fist, White Fox struck Su Hong with terrifying force. As the crowd cheered the deadly technique, White Fox relentlessly pummeled Su Hong, mocking his defensive struggle and demanding he fight back. Desperate and fading from consciousness, Su Hong collapsed to the mat. Stepping heavily on the downed fighter's head, White Fox smugly declared that Su Hong wouldn't see a single cent of the prize money. Instead, he offered the cash in exchange for Su Hong's cooperation in fixing future matches for his boss. Su Hong defiantly rejected the shameless offer, questioning how they could even call themselves martial artists. Hostile, White Fox warned that the price of refusal was unbearable and lunged forward with a strike intended to permanently cripple him. Repeatedly telling himself he could not fall here, Su Hong thought of his aunt and uncle. Refusing to let their years of sacrifice go to waste or accept such a dark future, he forced himself back to his feet, his body suddenly enveloped in a steaming, explosive aura, as a mysterious blue holographic system interface materialized before him, asking what he was willing to give for his family and beliefs. Su Hong roared that he would give absolutely everything, screaming his absolute willingness to sacrifice everything. Su Hong was suddenly bathed in golden light by a colossal, glowing entity. The mysterious being granted him a chance, summoning a golden holographic interface that displayed his physical stats, martial skills, and a new mission. A glowing white clone of himself materialized and immediately began executing his primary technique, the Vajra Fist, with textbook perfection. Eager to learn from the flawless model, Su Hong actively sparred with the clone. Though he endured heavy blows, He watched in awe as his martial arts proficiency rapidly climbed across the system panels. Upon finally mastering the technique, an exhausted Su Hong dropped to his knees, thanked the system, and accepted the prompt to return to reality. He seamlessly materialized back in the underground arena, right in the middle of his match against White Fox. As the corrupt fighter launched a supposedly unavoidable finishing strike, a suddenly calm Su Hong deemed the attack far too slow. He effortlessly dodged and delivered a devastating counterpunch that instantly shattered White Fox's mask. Standing victorious over the unconscious warrior as the crowd watched in stunned silence, Su Hong firmly demanded his prize money. The flustered announcer quickly recovered and officially awarded the Minotaur-masked fighter the 60,000 yuan grand prize. Observing from the VIP room, the wealthy arena boss was shocked that a mere martial apprentice had cultivated the Vajra fist to mastery. He immediately ordered his suited subordinates to track the victor and uncover his true identity. However, as the two men scoured a dark alleyway in frustration, they completely failed to notice Su Hong suspended horizontally high above them between the narrow walls, silently mocking their tracking attempt. An hour later, Su Hong sat at his apartment dining table, presenting a massive stack of cash to his deeply shocked aunt and uncle. When his uncle asked if he had robbed a bank, Su Hong calmly grasped their hands and lied, claiming that his usually stingy dojo master had decided to sponsor his studies due to his exceptional talent. Reassured by his confident demeanor, his family expressed their profound trust and pride in his promising future. Retreating to the apartment rooftop, Su Hong sat alone under the night sky, immensely relieved that his family's rent and medical expenses were finally solved. Crediting the miraculous system for turning danger into safety, he reviewed his interface and noticed an unused currency called martial value, earned by defeating his higher-level opponent. Learning that these points could be used to increase base stats, he allocated his remaining balance to his vitality. Immediately, his arena wounds closed, and his body surged with immense physical power. Realizing his vitality score had just reached the threshold of a quasi-martial artist, he felt an endless reserve of strength and leaped swiftly across the city rooftops to find a place to test his limits. Su Hong goes to the Star City No. 1 high school drill ground with the idea in mind of testing his power on a level 1 power tester. He charges his punch, putting out 70% of his strength into it. He smashes his punch in the machine, breaking it. Su Hong lamenting the poor quality of the machine and hoping he will not be made to pay for it. Awakened by the loud destruction, a furious pajama-clad security guard rushed to the ruined equipment. Completely unaware of Su Hong's involvement, the elderly man mistakenly blamed the damage on two other notorious students, furiously vowing to educate them properly once the school semester started. Inside the Star City No. 1 high school gymnasium, students gossiped about the school's supposed top genius, Chen Shan, who had been beaten up after taking the blame for the combat tester destroyed the previous night. The principal quickly quieted the assembly, introducing Tier 3 warrior Chen Tian as a guest instructor to teach a C-rank martial art called the Thunder Rush Fist. Recognizing the terrifying technique from his fight with White Fox, Su Hong resolved to fully seize the rare opportunity. Chen Tian explained that mastery of the art was measured by the number of thunderclaps produced with a single punch, ranging from 1 clap for a beginner to 9 claps at perfect completion. After skipping the pleasantries and demonstrating the sequence 10 times, the students were left to practice. Hours later, the exhausted class had made little progress, while Chen Shan managed to produce a single thunderclap, earning the principal's praise but a dismissive scoff from Chen Tian. Su Hong was noticeably absent from his spot on the gym floor. Walking outside the building, Chen Tian and the principal were suddenly startled by booming impacts. In the distance, they spotted an anonymous student in a school uniform practicing alone. To their absolute horror and amazement, the student unleashed a flawless, 9-clap Thunder Rush Fist, signaling perfect completion. Witnessing this impossible mastery triggered a sudden epiphany for Chen Tian, instantly breaking his own martial bottleneck to achieve an 8-clap punch. Desperate to identify the prodigy, the two men rushed across the campus, but Su Hong had already vanished. Strolling through the city streets, an exhausted Su Hong reviewed his system interface. Realizing he now needed Martial Dao Points to advance into the warrior realm, he wondered if normal sparring matches could provide them instead of life-and-death battles. Upon arriving at his workplace, the Rage Thunder Dojo, Su Hong observed a spear class alongside a co-worker. The lesson was interrupted when an aggressive, purple-haired disciple named Li Yan violently kicked a classmate to the floor, arrogantly complaining about the quality of their instruction. As Li Yan launched another strike, Su Hong intercepted his fist, politely asking him to stop at light contact. Insulted, Li Yan challenged him to a ring match, and Su Hong calmly agreed to humor him. The confrontation paused when Li Yan's arrogant instructor entered the hall. Announcing it was his last day teaching the Rage Sea Spear technique, the instructor performed a single, blindingly fast demonstration. Sneering that the useless class wouldn't be able to learn it anyway, he promptly walked out, leaving the students complaining about the scam. However, relying purely on his enhanced comprehension, Su Hong mentally internalized the core movement, likening it to a flood dragon diving into endless waves. Picking up a spear, he flawlessly executed the form, his weapon immediately surging with a visible water aura. Returning to the hall, Li Yan was intrigued by the display. Eager to test if Su Hong was a true genius, the arrogant disciple challenged him to a spar. Ignoring his co-worker's warning about Li Yan's genuine strength, Su Hong politely asked for guidance and readied his weapon. Leaping forward, Li Yan unleashed the Rage Sea Spear technique at the subtle mastery level. Unfazed, Su Hong effortlessly parried the heavy, aggressive strike using the proficient level of the exact same technique, leaving the arrogant disciple staring in absolute shock. Su Hong effortlessly shattered Li Yan's weapon, defeating the arrogant disciple using the proficient level of the Raging Sea Spear technique. A system interface immediately rewarded Su Hong with 35 martial points for defeating a higher-level opponent, making him realize he could safely farm points through standard sparring matches. Devastated by the impossible defeat and questioning his years of hard training, Li Yan completely snapped, launching a frantic, unarmed strike at Su Hong's face. Su Hong only casually looked at the punch before a senior intervened, slapping his disciple across the face for his poor sportsmanship. The instructor apologized to Su Hong for the lack of discipline, secretly astounded by the young man's unprecedented learning speed. Walking home that night, Su Hong decided to purchase a high-grade alloy spear for his upcoming school exams. However, upon seeing a price tag of nearly 70,000 yuan at a local weapon shop, he realized his current funds were insufficient to cover both the weapon and his aunt's medical bills. Searching for another source of income, his attention was drawn to a public broadcast offering generous cash rewards for martial artists willing to hunt the increasing number of ferocious beasts outside the city. Returning to his apartment, Su Hong overheard his aunt and uncle discussing their need to keep working to save money for his expensive martial arts future. Stepping inside, he massaged his uncle's shoulders and urged him to finally retire. But the older man stubbornly insisted on earning a little for daily expenses, so the burden wouldn't fall entirely on Su Hong. Realizing his family would never feel safe enough to rest unless he secured a massive fortune, Su Hong solidified his decision to hunt. Standing outside the building later, he invested all his newly acquired points into his vitality stat, pushing his physical strength to the very edge of the true martial artist realm. He then spent the next 2 days exhausting himself in the school gymnasium, until all of his combat techniques reached the perfection stage. Fully prepared by Saturday, Su Hong traveled to the heavily populated Star City martial artist base. Reviewing a bounty pamphlet, he noted the lucrative payouts for various beast tiers, though he was disgusted to learn that hunters had to submit severed left ears as primitive proof of their kills. His reading was interrupted when a loud entourage shoved through the crowd. Led by an arrogant blonde man the bystanders called Young Master Ye. Overhearing gossip about Ye's recent humiliating defeat, Su Hong recognized the man's outfit and aura. It was White Fox, the corrupt fighter from the underground arena, currently exploiting his status as the base director's nephew. Conscious that the humans in the wilderness could be just as dangerous as the monsters, Su Hong passed through the exit gate, confirming to a highly skeptical guard that he was venturing out alone. After wandering the outer forest for 2 hours without spotting a single target, he pushed deeper into the woods. His search ended when he finally encountered a live, initial-stage nether moonwolf, which immediately unleashed a fierce roar and lunged directly at him. The nether moonwolf met a swift end as Su Hong countered with a lightning-infused thunderclap fist. Soon after, a charging rank 1 mid-stage raging black bear fell just as easily. Thrilled by the reality of fighting monsters and his effortless victories, Su Hong harvested the bear's ear with a knife. A system notification immediately appeared, confirming he had finally accumulated enough martial points to break through to the true martial artist realm. Before he could process the milestone, an incredibly intense aura drew his attention deeper into the forest. He discovered a massive rank 1 late-stage black jade giant python, terrorizing a team of hunters. Who the fuck comes out with these names? Marveling at the colossal monster's speed, Su Hong watched as the beast brutally smashed one of the men into a rock wall. The hunter coughed weakly in pain before succumbing to his injuries. Approaching the fallen man, Su Hong solemnly asked to borrow his weapon and took up the discarded spear. The giant python quickly turned its hostility toward the newcomer. Recognizing that defeating a late-stage beast typically required a coordinated team, Su Hong relied entirely on his newly perfected skills to fight alone. He effortlessly evaded the snake's rapid strikes using his void step, then went on the offensive, piercing its thick scales with a surging, raging sea spear thrust. Acknowledging that their massive size difference prevented a quick, fatal blow, Su Hong formulated a hit-and-run tactic. He planned to strike, immediately create distance, find another opening, and quickly disengage. Blocking a devastating tail whip with his perfected thunderclap fist, he systematically wore the monster down over several grueling rounds. Exhausted but satisfied that his strategy was working, Su Hong noticed the giant python trembling, clearly pushed to its absolute limit. Re-energized, he readied his spear to finish the fight. Suddenly, a maniacal laugh echoed from directly behind him. A masked man wielding a flaming fist ambushed Su Hong, launching a devastating blindside strike that sent him flying violently into a rock wall. Coughing in pain, Su Hong demanded to know who had attacked him. Stepping out from the forest shadows with his heavily armed entourage, the arrogant young Master Ye greeted his former arena rival, smugly suggesting that Su Hong hand the weakened giant python over to him. Assuming Su Hong had merely stumbled upon the dying black jade giant python, Ye demanded he hand the beast over. When a masked subordinate launched a sudden sneak attack, Su Hong effortlessly blocked the strike using a perfected Vajra fist. Recognizing the signature technique, Ye immediately identified Su Hong as the Minotaur from the underground arena and furiously ordered his men to kill him. Outnumbered and drained of vitality from his battle with the beast, Su Hong tactically retreated into the dense woods. As the subordinates blindly chased him through the trees, Su Hong used hit-and-run tactics, ambushing and eliminating them one by one with his perfected void step and thunderclap fist. Realizing his men were falling to incredibly high-level techniques, a desperate and enraged Ye directly engaged Su Hong, unleashing a powerful energy attack called the Void Shattering Finger. During their clash, Ye made a fatal mistake. He threatened to murder Su Hong's entire family if he dared to fight back. The threat instantly ignited a cold, ruthless fury in Su Hong. Completely ignoring Ye's desperate attempts to use his uncle's political status at the base as a shield, Su Hong pressed a relentless offensive, a devastating red-glowing fist attack that smashed Ye's face, bringing the arrogant young master to his knees. Bleeding and terrified, Ye desperately questioned how Su Hong possessed such monstrous strength without even being a true martial artist. Before Su Hong could deliver the final blow, a massive shadow loomed over them. The black jade giant python, having fully recovered its stamina while the humans fought, suddenly reared up and violently crushed Ye to death beneath its massive, scaled body. Frustrated that he had wasted too much time dealing with the ambush, Su Hong readied his spear once more to face the fully recovered monster. Separated in the dense woods, Ye Feng's subordinates searched for their leader before Su Hong launched his ambush. During the skirmish, the black jade giant python suddenly emerged and attacked the thugs, inadvertently granting Su Hong indirect kill points through his system interface. Realizing he finally had enough points to become a true martial artist, Su Hong retreated into a nearby cave to safely upgrade his stats, while the giant serpent raged outside. Investing his accumulated points, Su Hong watched his vitality reach 100. His blood surged with magma-like heat as the system announced his official breakthrough to a Tier 1 martial artist. Empowered by a glowing red aura, an excited Su Hong exited the cave and declared it was his turn, directly intercepting the python's tail attack with a Vajra fist. Striking from above, he pinned the massive beast to the ground with a devastating Thunder Rush fist, successfully killing it. Realizing that snakes lacked the severed ears required for bounty collection, Su Hong approached Ye Feng's crushed corpse instead, coldly noting the arrogant young master had gotten off easy. Looting the body, he discovered a B-rank manual for the void-breaking finger technique. Su Hong returned to the cave that night, using his system clone to rapidly master the high-level energy beam, despite the immense physical pressure the training caused. 3 days later, Su Hong tested his newly perfected skill by completely obliterating a charging wild bear with a single massive energy strike. Satisfied with the terrifying power, he decided it was time to return to the martial artist base. At the settlement desk, Su Hong turned in a massive sack of tiered beast ears. The receptionist tallied the haul at over 400,000 Blue Star coins, leaving the surrounding hunters completely shocked by such a lucrative solo hunt. Su Hong grew nervous, realizing his success was far too conspicuous. Suddenly, the facility entrance was violently blockaded. Supervisor Ye, furious over the deaths of his nephew Ye Feng and 4 base martial artists, ordered his guards to let no one escape. While the crowd secretly celebrated the death of the notorious Scourge, Supervisor Ye announced that Yao Feng's B-rank manual was missing and mandated a strict body search of every hunter to clear suspicion, hoping the giant python's involvement would mask his tracks. Su Hong attempted to quietly slip away as the crowd scattered. However, his massive payout had already flagged him. Supervisor Ye intercepted him directly, radiating a menacing aura as he complimented Su Hong's amazing skills, darkly noting that the young boy had somehow managed to hunt 400,000 coins worth of beasts entirely alone. Ye accused him of scavenging his dead nephew's pack and ordered a search. Su Hong aggressively drew his spear, leveraging his status as a Star City High No. 1 student to make the supervisor hesitate. Unwilling to offend the school's notoriously protective principal, the politically cautious Ye offered a 10,000 coin bribe for a peaceful pat-down, which Su Hong coolly negotiated up to 30,000. The blazing-fisted guards searched the boy, but found absolutely nothing. After paying the bribe, Ye released him, shifting his furious lockdown to the rest of the bewildered hunters. Retreating to an underground hotel room, Su Hong reviewed his 534 accumulated martial points. Curious about his system's physiological limits, he dumped points into his mortal frame. The upgrade caused his body to temporarily mutate into an oversized, muscle-bound brute, radiating an endless supply of raw physical power. Relieved when the extreme hypertrophy gradually receded back to his normal physique, he finalized his preparations and headed out for his official certification. Arriving at the Star City Martial Artist Association, Su Hong learned the rank. 1 baseline requirements were 100 vitality and 1,000 combat power. After watching a rival dojo disciple named Li Ming successfully pass with an impressive combat score of 1,763, Su Hong took his turn at the vitality tester. He casually scored an impossible 123, completely stunning the examiner and mentally devastating the previously arrogant Li Ming. Moving to the heavy combat power testing machine, Su Hong decided to hold back, calculating that using only 50% of his strength would be enough to safely pass. Bypassing his martial arts entirely, he struck the machine using nothing but raw physical force. The punch violently launched the massive tester across the hall in a trail of blue energy. As the shattered screen displayed a high stage score of 3004, the crowd erupted into a shocked uproar. Watching the spectacle from a balcony, Instructor Zhang Ming and his disciple Li Yan finally recognized the terrifying depth of Su Hong's anomaly. Meanwhile, deep inside the facility, the highly stressed association president Wu Lingxian was interrupted by a panicked subordinate screaming the unbelievable report of the young monster who had just shattered their assessment records. As a staff member escorted Su Hong up the central hall's escalator to register his new identity and collect his allowance, they were abruptly intercepted by President Wu Lingxian. Dismissing her subordinate, the branch president took personal charge of the young prodigy. Guiding him into her office, she wryly noted that his high school principal had tried to hide his massive genius. When Su Hong stated he needed a guidance technique, Wu Lingxian raised her palm and ignited a furiously swirling fireball. She explained that these techniques did more than just absorb spiritual energy for cultivation. They directly imbued a martial artist's physical strikes with devastating elemental lethality and vastly extended their attack range. She then lectured him on the fundamental laws of cultivation, breaking down the elemental system. Spiritual energy has 7 distinct attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and wind. While she carefully noted that every element had its own unique tactical pros and cons in combat. Presenting a clear crystal ball to test his elemental compatibility, the president proudly noted her own 80% affinity, predicting the boy might exceed 90. However, the moment Su Hong placed his hands on the smooth sphere, it erupted in a blinding, room-filling crimson flash. He possessed an impossible, flawless 100% compatibility with the fire attribute, and moments later, demonstrated the exact same absolute perfection in thunder and wind. Utterly shell-shocked to realize his compatibility was completely maxed out across all 7 elements, a deeply humbled Wu Lingxian slumped onto her couch. At one point, she considered herself a top-tier genius, but when faced an enemy who defied common sense, she realized she is just an ordinary person. She realized that to defeat an existence that defies common sense, you have to be someone equally beyond common sense. Though she severely warned him that cultivating multiple elements simultaneously usually stalled a martial artist's progress for decades, Su Hong stubbornly requested all 7 manuals, refusing to waste his unprecedented potential. Reluctantly agreeing to let him try, the president warned him of the escalating, bloody friction on the all-heavens battlefield against the myriad races. She promised to recommend him to an elite wartime genius training camp, provided he secured first place in his upcoming school exams. Walking away from the association building, Su-hong recalled losing his parents to that exact war a decade ago, his eyes hardening with a fierce resolve to protect his remaining family. Arriving home, he presented his official Rank 1 certificate and his new 10,000 credit monthly allowance card. Overwhelmed with joy, his aunt and uncle wept with profound relief, finally free from their desperate financial struggle as Su-hong officially vowed to hold the family up from now on. Late that night on the roof of his apartment building, Su-hong eagerly initiated his new heavenly flame guidance technique. Channeling the intense heat, he drove a heavy punch forward into the empty air, only for the swirling flames to instantly extinguish into a harmless wisp of steam, carrying absolutely no concussive power. Confused by the pathetic display, Su-hong checked his holographic interface. He discovered the technique was registered strictly as a level 1 skill, bringing a sudden, thrilling realization. Unlike ordinary martial artists who had to spend years meditating to absorb elemental energy, his system could artificially force guidance techniques to level up. Su-hong attempted to use his system interface to upgrade his new Heavenly Flame guidance technique, only to be met with a glaring insufficient martial points warning. Resigning himself to earning points later, he spent the next several hours manually cultivating the remaining 6 elemental techniques to level 1. As the spiritual energies of all 7 elements gathered inside his body, they violently repelled one another, causing him intense physical strain and illustrating exactly why other geniuses stalled for decades trying to master them all. Refusing to give up, Su-hong attempted to forcefully fuse the fire and thunder attributes, reasoning their similar highly offensive natures might blend. His initial attempts violently clashed, dissipating into erratic sparks, but he stubbornly pushed his limits through the entire night. By dawn, a sweating, exhausted Su-hong finally succeeded, stabilizing a crackling golden-orange sphere of fused fiery lightning in the palm of his hand. Eager to validate his new strength, Su-hong traveled to the Star City Citizen Martial Arts Plaza and approached a heavy metallic Rank 3 combat power tester. Holding back to just 30% of his power, he struck the machine with pure thunder energy, scoring an impressive 2,343. Winding up again, he channeled his newly fused Thunderfire energy. He stepped into the strike and delivered a devastating punch. The kinetic blast violently rocked the massive machine, cracking the digital display as it registered an unbelievable 3,041. Amazed that his heavily suppressed dual-element strike had surpassed the output of a Rank 1 high-stage martial artist, Su-hong realized a 3-element fusion was currently beyond his limits. He decided to farm the required martial points at his upcoming school exam. The next morning at Star City High No. 1, Principal Li Xingshan stood before the assembled student body. He announced that due to the escalating war on the front lines, the top 3 students from the monthly exam would be drafted into an elite, resource-rich genius training camp. As the crowd murmured, Su-hong overheard classmates gossiping that his rivals, Chen Shan and Li Tu, had both broken through to Rank 1 after receiving private tutoring from Tier 3 warrior Chen Tian. Undeterred, Su-hong confidently resolved to show the entire school who the real No. 1 genius was. Nearby in the VIP area, Dojo Master Jiang Ming and his disciple Li Yan approached a stressed Principal Li. Arrogantly insulting the school's student quality, Jiang Ming proposed his disciples spar with the exam's first-place winner to publicly embarrass the institution. But as they looked over the crowd, Li Yan suddenly spotted Su-hong, instantly recalling the terrifying spectacle of the boy casually shattering an association tester with a 3,000-point strike. Both master and disciple broke out in a cold sweat. Completely abandoning his pride, a terrified Jiang Ming violently backpedaled, profusely apologizing to Principal Li and loudly declaring his own disciples trash, who wholly admitted defeat. Oblivious to Su-hong's true power, the principal was left deeply confused, misinterpreting the sudden surrender as biting sarcasm. Meanwhile, Su-hong was called to the arena floor for his first match against a quasi-martial artist named Chen Peng. Assuming an easy victory, Chen Peng started talking trash about Su-hong. Without even breaking his calm, Su-hong delivered a blindingly fast, effortless backhand. As the boy collapsed unconscious from the single move, the surrounding crowd of students and faculty erupted into absolute shock. As Su-hong casually walked out of the arena following the effortless knockout, the gossiping crowd buzzed with disbelief, wondering if the unassuming student was actually a hidden Tier 1 martial artist. Up in the VIP section, a sweating Principal Li realized his sheer negligence in burying such talent and asked Chen Tian where the boy had come from. The tournament quickly pushed forward to the semi-finals, pitting Su-hong's rivals, Chen Shan and Li Tu, against each other. The evenly matched fight escalated when Chen Shan unleashed his Tier 3 Marrow Fist, his strikes projecting a fierce, fiery aura. However, Li Tu countered with an even stronger metal attribute projection, his fists wrapped in swirling chains of metallic energy. Aggressively pushing his opponent back, Li Tu unleashed a barrage of 5 echoing strikes, the 5-sound Thunder Fist, narrowly claiming victory. Observing the display, guest instructor Chen Tian praised Li Tu for mastering both attribute projection and the Thunder Fist in a mere 10 days. Believing Li Tu was now unstoppable, Chen Tian dismissed Su Hong's chances in the upcoming finals. But Principal Li, having witnessed a veteran dojo master flee in terror at the mere sight of Su Hong earlier that morning, confidently threw down a 50,000 credit bet on his new star student. Stepping into the ring for the final match, Li Tu arrogantly activated his metal chains. Mocking Su Hong's luck in reaching the finals, Li Tu boasted that his extensive beast hunting had made their peers seem incredibly weak. Su Hong calmly replied that since Li Tu had made it this far, he could proudly claim the title of second place in the school. When an enraged Li Tu demanded to know who was first, Su Hong confidently declared his own supremacy, promising to demonstrate the massive gap between them in a single move. Refusing to dodge, Su Hong charged directly into Li Tu's incoming chain-wrapped strike. In a blinding flash, Su Hong activated his own attribute projection, completely engulfing and overpowering Li Tu's metallic aura. Shocked to realize Su Hong's lightning was vastly superior to his metal, a desperate Li Tu unleashed his ultimate move, a rapid barrage of 5 instant Thunder Fist punches. Unfazed, Su Hong stepped into the onslaught and countered with his own blinding barrage. His fists tore through the air, perfectly neutralizing Li Tu's attack as the deafening crack of thunder echoed exactly 9 times. The perfection stage, 9 echo Thunder Fists slammed into Li Tu, violently launching him across the arena and instantly ending the match. As the crowd erupted into absolute frenzy over the god-tier display, a stunned Chen Tian finally connected the dots, realizing Su Hong was the anonymous 9-echo genius he had been desperately searching for. Beaming with pride, Principal Li declared Su Hong the true dragon of Star City High No. 1. Watching medics carry the unconscious Li Tu away, the principal prophesied that their small city was merely a puddle for a prodigy bound to soar at the elite training camp, the imperial capital, and eventually, the battlefield of the heavens. Returning home to his small apartment, Su Hong was greeted warmly by his aunt and uncle. As they sat down for dinner, he casually dropped the news that he had secured first place in the monthly exam and claimed the coveted spot in the elite training camp. The joyful family celebration was abruptly interrupted by a sharp knock. Lin Nian's mother, a wealthy, arrogant woman whose son had placed fourth, barged in. Slapping a thick stack of 30,000 yuan onto the table, she demanded Su Hong forfeit his spot so her son could go instead. When Su Hong flatly refused, her demeanor turned venomous. She tried to terrify his family by detailing the camp's lethal cruelty, claiming the competition was a meat grinder where wealthy elites gorged on high-grade elixirs and practiced high-tier arts as if it were nothing. She guaranteed Su Hong would simply be eliminated, or worse. Unfazed by the threats, Su Hong firmly promised his family that he could guarantee his own safety. Fiercely protective, his uncle rejected the cash without a second thought. Declaring his absolute trust in his nephew's strength, he forcefully kicked the woman out and slammed the door in her face. Though secretly worried about the danger, his aunt and uncle promised to fully back his resolve, asking only that he return safely. Late that night on the apartment rooftop, Su Hong reviewed his holographic system panel. The tournament had netted him 285 martial points. Knowing he needed to prepare for the camp's heavily resourced monsters, he dumped the points directly into his physical combat power, surging his mortal frame from 36% to a robust 64%. Checking his skills, he noticed an incredible anomaly. His Thunder and Heavenly Flame guidance techniques had hit level 2 naturally, without him spending a single martial point. Realizing manual cultivation could level the elemental skills passively, he spent the rest of the night furiously cultivating under the stars. By dawn, both techniques broke through to level 3, passively granting him 3 additional vitality points. After a warm, encouraging send-off from his family the next morning, Su Hong walked down the city streets, his heavy spear resting casually across his shoulders. Suddenly, a sleek red sports car drifted to a screeching halt right in front of him. Behind the wheel, wearing dark sunglasses, Association President Wu Lingxian simply told him to get in. As they sped down the highway toward the training camp's rendezvous point, the president delivered a stern warning to prepare him for the reality ahead. She revealed that the camp was filled with heavily funded monsters who were already nearing rank 2. a terrifying threshold requiring 200 points of vitality. Furthermore, these elites had already mastered devastating Class B martial skills. Su Hong remained completely calm. With his system space, he knew he didn't need to fear their techniques. He could instantly master any Class B skill he encountered. Observing his unshakable, quiet confidence despite his apparent lack of background and resources, President Wu smiled, entirely relieved that she wouldn't have to worry about his mindset cracking under the immense pressure to come. In a car deep in the Tianlin mountain range, in the back seat, the other recruited students visibly panicked as they realized they were entering a notoriously lethal zone teeming with ferocious beasts and towering rank 7 beast kings. Su Hong, however, quietly smirked while staring out the window, his blood pumping, as he found himself actively enjoying the brutal, predatory atmosphere of the mountains. Arriving at a fenced staging ground, Su Hong grabbed his wrapped spear and joined the growing crowd of anxious recruits. The murmurs spiked as a convoy of luxury vehicles rolled into the dirt lot, dropping off the city's top 3 prominent prodigies, the spiritual telekinetic Xiao Yan, the near-rank 2 Lin Xinghe, and the special physique powerhouse Wang Tiantuo. Why can't these guys have normal names like Jack or John? Su Hong eyed the elite trio coolly, genuinely eager to test the actual limits of these so-called geniuses. A grim-faced examiner stepped to the front, announcing the ruthless rules of their entrance exam. The actual training camp lay 30 kilometers away through the treacherous forest. To pass, recruits had exactly 8 hours to arrive holding a special token embedded inside the bodies of the local ferocious beasts. When the weaker students angrily protested that the test was unfair and relied entirely on luck, the examiner coldly shut them down. He declared that mitigating risks and preying on the weak were the absolute laws of the battlefield, and that once they entered the tree line, instructors would not intervene to stop robberies, injuries, or fights. Su Hong scoffed, loudly calling the complaining students a bunch of trash, while internally rejoicing. This lawless environment was the perfect hunting ground to farm his peers for free martial points. At the sound of the buzzer, the frantic crowd charged into the woods. Deep in the forest, Su Hong quickly stumbled upon 2 students locked in a fierce, fiery brawl over a token. Profoundly disappointed by their sluggish combat power, Su Hong leapt up into the canopy to seek out beasts instead. However, he quickly overheard those guys' conversation, the wealthy one bullying the other, arrogantly mocking him as a pauper, whose hard work meant nothing against generations of wealth. Deciding not to let the free points go to waste, Su Hong dropped down from the branches, holding nothing but a thick, heavy wooden stick. Treating the 2 fighters like absolute fodder, he casually told them to stop squabbling and team up against him instead. Enraged by the blatant disrespect, one of them jumped forward, fist ready. However, with blinding speed, Su Hong kicks him straight in the guts. The massive wind pressure from the heavy blow violently launched the student backward, smashing him unconscious against a tree trunk. As the other student stood paralyzed and in absolute shock, Su Hong instantly closed the distance. "Your turn," Su Hong declared coldly, ruthlessly bringing the heavy branch across the second student's face with a brutal, blood-spraying impact. Back at the assessment center, the monitoring staff watched the camera feeds in stunned silence as Su Hong effortlessly one-shotted both fighters. Because neither boy had officially triggered their distress signals, the examiner confirmed they were not yet eliminated. Deep in the forest, the wealthy and working-class students groaned as they recovered from the brutal strike. Ironically, the shared beatdown completely dissolved their bitter class warfare. Humbled and bonded by the mutual humiliation, they apologized to one another, grabbed Su Hong's discarded wooden club, and formed a brotherly pact to hunt him down for revenge. Unaware and entirely unconcerned with his new pursuers, Su Hong ventured deeper into the tree line, soon encountering a massive herd of giant tusked boars. He tore through the beasts using his 9-echo Thunder Fist, but quickly frowned at his system interface. Because his own power level had surged so drastically, the martial points awarded for killing low-level enemies were experiencing severe diminishing returns. After dissecting a few carcasses and finding nothing, he deduced that the mandatory entrance tokens only spawned inside higher-tier monsters. Pushing deeper into the mountains for another half hour, he finally tracked down a high-tier Night Shadow Black Tiger. With a precise, deadly energy beam from his void-piercing finger, he instantly pierced the beast's skull and sliced open its stomach, successfully extracting a blood-soaked training token. With his entry secured, Su Hong shifted his focus entirely to optimizing his point grind. He calculated that tracking down sparse, high-tier targets was horribly inefficient compared to wiping out large, dense clusters of weaker enemies. Treating the deadly survival exam strictly as a resource node, he turned around and headed back toward the outskirts. Over the next few hours, he went on an absolute massacre. Dozens of boars and a massive middle-tier bear fell to his relentless assault. He confirmed that with his mortal frame pushed past 64%, his raw physical strength alone was now enough to casually crush middle-tier beasts without even activating a martial skill. Checking his interface, Su-hong noted he had banked 254 martial points. With 3 hours left on the clock, he just needed another 100 to completely max out his physical progress. Suddenly, the forest canopy grew unnervingly dark. A deafening, ear-piercing screech echoed through the mountains, shaking the very leaves from the branches. Looking up, Su-hong's eyes widened as a legendary Golden Rock Beast King soared directly overhead. With just a casual flap of its gigantic fiery wings, the apex predator unleashed a terrifying forest-leveling shockwave, forcing Su-hong to drive his heavy spear deep into the dirt and brace himself just to avoid being violently blown away. The massive shockwave snapped towering trees like twigs, forcing Su-hong to brace his spear against the churning earth. Suddenly, a figure radiating blinding golden energy appeared in the sky above the Golden Rock. It was Rank 7 Grandmaster Qin Tianli. Confronting the colossal Beast King, the Grandmaster aggressively battered the massive bird into retreating, loudly broadcasting across the forest that he was borrowing its territory for the training camp. Awed by the spectacle of unassisted flight and overwhelming power, Su-hong stared up into the sky, his resolve hardening as he vowed to one day reach that exact realm. Meanwhile, inside the camp's monitoring room, Grandmaster Qin and 2 Rank 5 instructors reviewed the surveillance footage. Qin praised the top 3 elite scions, Wang Tiantuo, Lin Xingge, and Xiao Yan, for effortlessly withstanding the Beast King's oppressive aura. Dismissing the students from ordinary schools, Qin asked if anyone else was worth noting. A sweating instructor Bai Mu pointed to a monitor showing Su-hong casually hunting a beast immediately after the pressure wave. Pulling Su-hong's file, Qin's eyes bulged at the impossible stats: a flawless 100% all-attribute affinity, perfection stage martial arts, and a raw physical combat power over 3,000. However, his awe quickly curdled into horror. Noting Su-hong's stunted blood qi, Qin realized the boy was cultivating all 7 elemental techniques simultaneously, a path the Grandmaster firmly believed would absolutely doom his future progress. Back at the camp entrance, the top 3 geniuses arrived smoothly at the 6-hour mark. As the clock ticked down to the final minutes, Grandmaster Qin began to panic, fearing his newly discovered, albeit flawed, treasure had been eliminated. Finally, just before the 8-hour deadline expired, a heavily blood-soaked Su-hong casually strolled out of the tree line, having entirely lost track of time while farming martial points. Completely uninjured despite his gruesome appearance, his arrival instantly caught the attention of the elite trio, who silently respected his ruthless aura and expert timing. With the exam officially concluded, an instructor welcomed the surviving trainees. He detailed the camp's premier facilities, including a martial arts pavilion housing highly coveted A-rank skills. However, access required contribution points, which could only be earned through outstanding performance in their upcoming training subjects. Assigned to a private single dorm room, an eager Su-hong sat on his bed and pulled up his system interface. Safe from prying eyes, he took his 354 banked martial points and continuously dumped them into his mortal body stat. His skin flushed with intense radiating heat as the progress bar rapidly filled. The moment it hit 100%, a new system prompt flashed before his eyes: Mortal Body 100%, Evolve. As the mysterious physical evolution initiated, Su-hong's eyes began to glow with a fierce burning crimson. As the fierce crimson glow faded from his eyes, the mysterious evolution completed. Su-hong's system interface updated, revealing his physical form had transcended into an Overlord body, complete with a brand new spirit rank progression bar. Marveling at his explosive new baseline strength, he absent-mindedly gripped his grade C alloy spear, only to hear the metal creak and bend under his casual grip. Realizing his current weapon was now entirely useless, he knew he desperately needed to earn enough contribution points to afford a grade A replacement. Meanwhile, in the camp's monitoring room, Grandmaster Qin was busy orchestrating a brutal lesson for his anomalous new recruit. Convinced that Su-hong's multi-element cultivation path would inevitably ruin his future, the Grandmaster planned to use an upcoming night raid to violently break the boy's arrogant mindset. He ordered the instructors to bypass the standard matchmaking and assign a high-rank first-tier expert, boasting 5,000 combat power, specifically to crush Su-hong. If the boy's martial heart broke from the inevitable defeat, Qin coldly reasoned, then he was simply trash to begin with. Oblivious to the targeted ambush being planned against him, Su Hong headed to the equipment warehouse. Grabbing a point-calculating smart bracelet, he browsed the weighted vests, eventually settling on a 5-ton rig. To avoid drawing unnecessary attention, he zipped his jacket up, completely concealing the bulky, heavy equipment. Approaching the pyramid-shaped gravity room, Su Hong found a crowd of trainees hovering outside. They were gossiping in awe about the camp's top genius, Wang Tiantuo, who was currently training inside at 2 times gravity while wearing a 3-ton vest. Doing the math, Su Hong realized 3 tons was actually incredibly light for him. Suddenly understanding just how monstrously powerful his new Overlord body really was, compared to his elite peers. While the other trainees loitered around, too embarrassed to train and be compared to Wang Tiantuo, Su Hong confidently walked into the gravity room. The peanut gallery immediately scoffed, mocking him for acting tough while entering the brutal chamber without a weighted vest. Inside, Su Hong quickly calculated his limits. At 2 times gravity, his hidden 5-ton vest would exert 10 tons of crushing force, a load he could only endure for 10 minutes. To maximize his grinding session, he dialed the machine down to 1.5 times gravity, creating an effective, agonizing load of 7.5 tons. Outside, the trainees laughed hysterically at the monitor, mocking Su Hong as weak for supposedly struggling under basic 1.5 gravity with no gear. Inside the chamber, the immense pressure made circulating his spiritual energy incredibly painful, but drastically accelerated his cultivation speed. 2 grueling hours later, Su Hong checked his system interface in deep satisfaction. His water, earth, and wind techniques had all leveled up, and his blood chi had surged to 130. Completely exhausted, he shut down the machine and stumbled out into the cool night air. The waiting trainees instantly pounced, jeering and taunting him as a tail-ender who was covered in sweat from a basic gravity setting. Unbothered by the insults, Su Hong complained that his suit had terrible ventilation. He casually unzipped his jacket to cool off, exposing the massive 5-ton weighted vest strapped to his chest, and leaving his hecklers staring in absolute horrified silence. Outside the gravity room, the mocking trainees choked on their laughter as Su Hong casually dropped his massive weighted vest to the floor with a heavy thud. Though they were forced to admit that enduring 2 hours under pressure was decent, they quickly rushed to downplay his achievement, stubbornly declaring that he was still absolute trash compared to a monster like Wang Tiantuo. Right on cue, the camp's top physical genius emerged from his own chamber, completely exhausted but triumphant. After enduring a grueling 6 tons of pressure, Lin Xingye approached the tired brute, playfully challenging him to a race in the movement room. Wang Tiantuo immediately refused, bluntly stating he would be crazy to race against Lin's signature A-rank wind technique. Eavesdropping from the sidelines, Su Hong realized his new Overlord body was desperately lacking a high-level movement skill. Seeing a golden opportunity, he quietly tailed the wind attribute genius. Inside the specialized movement training room, Lin Xingye cranked the difficulty to the maximum level. As hundreds of high-speed projectiles filled the chamber, Lin effortlessly glided through the air. Using his A-rank flying swan startling cloud steps, he wove through the deadly barrage amidst a flurry of floating flower petals, striking elegant, flamboyant poses that left the observing trainees completely awestruck. Hiding in the crowd, Su Hong focused intently on the display. His system interface flared to life, rapidly analyzing and downloading the technique. Within seconds, the progress bar hit 100%. Without reading a single manual, Su Hong had instantly mastered an A-rank movement technique to the entry level. However, because the system had hardwired the muscle memory directly into his body, Su Hong accidentally triggered the technique, mirroring Lin Xinghe's flamboyant, anime-esque poses right in the middle of the hallway. Deeply embarrassed by his own flashy posture, Su Hong hastily fled the room, completely unaware that he left behind a crowd of swooning trainees who mistakenly thought he was just acting incredibly cool. Meanwhile, lurking in the shadows of the crowd, the wealthy and working-class duo spotted their target leaving. Seeking a place to farm martial points, Su Hong arrived at the ferocious beast combat room. He paused to watch the camp's elite show-off in the public simulators. He watched Wang Tiantuo obliterate beasts with explosive, raw physical power, but he was truly mesmerized by Xiaoyan. The female genius was actively floating in mid-air, a feat normally reserved for grandmasters. Using her A-rank telekinesis, she effortlessly bound and slaughtered high-level black tigers. Realizing that a spirit reader's telekinesis was the ultimate utility, Su Hong checked his system panel. His spirit stat was currently sitting at 26.5. To awaken as a spirit reader, he needed exactly 100 points, leaving him exactly 73.5 points short. Eager to go on an absolute killing spree to close the gap, Su Hong swiped his bracelet and locked himself inside a private simulation room. Noticing that the rest of the camp was completely distracted by the top geniuses, the two stalkers realized this was the perfect time to strike. They quietly crept up to Su-hong's private room and peered through the observation deck window to plan their ambush. But instead of a vulnerable target, their eyes widened in sheer, absolute terror. They screamed in horror as they watched the tailender standing completely alone in the simulation, casually facing down a massive, overwhelming swarm of over a dozen colossal, high-level rank 1 beasts. Blurring through the chaotic horde, Su-hong effortlessly evaded every strike using the very A-rank movement technique they had just seen Lin Xingye use. Realizing he had mastered a high-level skill simply by watching it once, the stalkers were dumbfounded. Inside the simulation, Su-hong went on an absolute massacre, though he frowned when 10 beast kills only yielded 81 martial points. Realizing his rapidly growing strength was causing severe diminishing returns, he impatiently grabbed a massive simulated scorpion by its tail and violently swung it like a giant club, smashing the remaining monsters into digital dust. Watching this unhinged display of pure dominance, the stalkers were thoroughly traumatized. In a burst of comedic self-preservation, they philosophically declared that revenge only breeds more revenge, instantly forgiving Su-hong before sprinting away to save their own lives. Outside the simulation rooms, the crowd of trainees erupted into awe as Wang Tiantuo and Xiao Yan emerged, boasting massive scores of 280 and 270 contribution points. As the fleeing stalkers hurried past the cheering crowd, they sweated profusely, lying to their peers about getting their revenge while secretly mocking the ignorant trainees who had no idea a true monster was still inside. An hour later, an exhausted Su-hong finally stepped out. He had casually banked a staggering 700 contribution points, 400 from his beast-hunting massacre, and 300 from enduring his massive weighted vest. Heading straight to the martial arts pavilion, Su-hong browsed the exchange catalog. Noting that A-rank skills cost a steep 2,000 points, he pivoted his strategy toward consumable upgrades. A board clerk heavily underestimated the bloodied first-order trainee, bluntly warning him that a premium Tier 4 spirit-focusing pill cost a massive 500 points. Without blinking, Su-hong swiped his smart bracelet and deducted the funds. Stunned by his hidden wealth, the clerk's attitude instantly flipped into deep, flirtatious infatuation, and she eagerly sold him a C-rank Thunderfire dual attribute spear for his remaining 200 points. Back in the quiet isolation of his dormitory, Su-hong reviewed his system panel. His mental power sat at 26.5, and he had exactly 490 banked martial points. Doing the math, he calculated that even with his banked points, he was still exactly 25.5 points away from hitting the 100-point threshold required to awaken as a spirit reader. Pinning all his hopes on his expensive new purchase, Su-hong swallowed the golden Tier 4 pill, absolutely determined to bridge the final gap and claim his new power. A wave of cool energy washed over his exhausted body, instantly soothing his nerves and expanding his sensory perception with crystal-clear clarity. Checking his system interface, he grinned as his mental power spiked by a massive 24 points, landing at 50.5. However, his smile quickly faded as he crunched the final numbers. Adding his 490 banked martial points, which converted to 49.0 mental power, brought his total to 99.5. He was exactly 0.5 points short. Groaning in sheer frustration, Su-hong realized he only needed 5 measly martial points to cross the threshold. Deeply regretting not killing just one more simulated beast, he resigned himself to going to sleep and earning the final points tomorrow. Across the camp in the equipment warehouse, a group of heavily muscled university veterans were complaining bitterly about being drafted to babysit a bunch of high school freshmen. As they reviewed the dossiers for the upcoming night raid, they whistled at the monstrous stats of Wang Tiantuo and Lin Xingye. However, the veteran assigned to Su-hong scoffed in disgust. Looking at the boy's paltry 123 blood chi, the veteran cursed out loud, deeply insulted to be tasked with bullying a piece of trash. Grandmaster Qian stepped out from the shadows, sharply correcting the arrogant student. He revealed that Su-hong's actual combat power rivaled a Tier 1 high-tier warrior. To save the boy from his flawed multi-element cultivation path, the Grandmaster ordered the veteran to ruthlessly crush Su-hong. He explicitly commanded the assailant to beat the boy until he questioned his life choices, promising total immunity and rewards even if Su-hong was permanently crippled in the process. The veteran maliciously smirked, eager to let loose. Minutes later, the coordinated ambush erupted across the camp, but thanks to his newly enhanced mental power, Su-hong sensed the attacker approaching his dorm long before his door was violently kicked open. The veteran rushed into the room, swinging a glowing purple energy blade. Without flinching, Su Hong calmly raised his new C-rank dual attribute spear, instantly recognizing the attacker as a human Tier 1 high-tier warrior. Su Hong's earlier frustration completely vanished into pure, unadulterated excitement. To him, this wasn't a terrifying ambush by a superior officer. This was a highly convenient delivery service dropping off the exact 5 martial points he needed to awaken. Channeling his overlord body, Su Hong pushed forward with monstrous physical strength, easily overpowering the shocked veteran and sending him skidding across the floor. Realizing physical strength alone wouldn't win, the assailant escalated the fight, declaring that battles weren't just about raw muscle. He unleashed a B-rank fire attribute martial art, sending a massive flaming purple slash directly at the boy. Su Hong met the attack head-on. Channeling raw, unrefined yellow lightning through his spear, he effortlessly blocked the B-rank technique, creating a massive shockwave that rocked the dorm room. Sweating nervously at the absurd display, the veteran arrogantly pointed out that because Su Hong didn't know any actual lightning spear techniques, he still couldn't win the fight. "It's true, I don't know any lightning spear techniques," Su Hong agreed cheerfully, a dangerous smirk spreading across his face. "But what if I add this?" Alongside the crackling lightning, Su Hong ignited his heavenly flame guidance technique, channeling both elements directly into the spear simultaneously. The veteran's arrogant sneer completely shattered into absolute paralyzing terror as he stared at the swirling vortex of fire and lightning, realizing he was staring down an impossible mythic technique, attribute fusion. Desperate to save himself, Bu Jingfeng poured everything he had into his B-rank blazing slash, sending a massive wave of purple fire toward the freshman. Thrusting his spear forward, the fused thunder and fire effortlessly shattered the veteran's B-rank technique. The sheer explosive force of the impact violently launched Bu Jingfeng backward, sending him crashing completely through the dormitory window and into the cool night air. Standing amidst the smoke and shattered glass, Su Hong smiled in deep satisfaction. A system prompt chimed in his mind, awarding him 7 Martial Dao value points. With his bank total now at 497, combined with his 50.5 base mental power, the math was finally complete. He had officially crossed the threshold to awaken as a spirit reader. Down on the pavement outside, Grandmaster Qin Tianli stood with his hands clasped behind his back, smugly practicing the stern lecture he planned to deliver to a beaten, humbled Su Hong. Suddenly, the shattered remains of the dorm window rained down from above, followed immediately by the unconscious, groaning body of Bu Jingfeng, violently cratering into the concrete right at the Grandmaster's feet. Qin and instructor Bai Mu stared in stunned silence. Reviewing the raid's data, the instructors frantically reported that Su Hong had defeated the veteran, a quasi-tier 2 warrior, even faster than the camp's top elites had defeated their weaker opponents. When another instructor rushed out to confirm that Su Hong had utilized a Thunderfire dual attribute fusion, Grandmaster Qin completely lost his mind. He wildly explained that the only other human to ever achieve such a feat took 10 grueling years, while this kid had done it in less than a month. Hyping himself into an absolute frenzy, Qin dramatically declared Su Hong a true dragon, who, if he managed to fuse all 7 attributes, could probably one-shot the emperors of the 10,000 alien races. A sweating Bai Mu hastily brought the Grandmaster back down to reality, reminding him that fusing attributes was incredibly dangerous and could easily ruin a cultivator's future if they hit a bottleneck. But before Qin could spiral into panic over accidentally ruining humanity's greatest treasure, another instructor pointed out a terrifying detail. Su Hong had also used pure physical strength to overpower the veteran. With barely over 120 vitality, Su Hong had completely crushed Bu Jingfeng's 500 vitality, a fourfold difference that proved his mysterious constitution was vastly superior to even Wang Tiantuo's legendary barbarian god body. Completely overwhelmed by the boy's monstrous rule-breaking potential, Grandmaster Qin made a swift decision. To truly test the limits of this heaven-defying monster, he ordered a formal match to be organized for the very next day, pitting Su Hong directly against Wang Tiantuo and the strongest geniuses the training camp had to offer. Sitting cross-legged in the quiet of his dorm room, Su Hong decisively allocated his entire bank of 490 martial points directly into his spirit stat. A profound, eerie sensation washed over him, like suddenly growing a phantom third arm. As his spirit progress bar ticked past the 100% mark, his body began to glow with an ethereal hum, and his feet gently lifted off the floor. Walking effortlessly on thin air, Su Hong smiled in absolute triumph. He had finally awakened as a spirit reader. Eager to expand his new arsenal, he resolved to learn Xiao Yan's A-rank telekinetic arts and Wang Tiantuo's offensive strikes the very next day. The following morning, the trainees were aggressively summoned to the courtyard with a strict 1-minute time limit. Standing before the exhausted crowd, Instructor Bu Jingfeng chuckled, impressed that no one was late despite the brutal night raid. When one battered trainee loudly complained that the ambush was unfair because he was attacked in the crotch before he could put his pants on, Bu Jingfeng mercilessly dubbed him Underwear Bro, sending ripples of laughter through the ranks. The amusement faded when Grandmaster Qin stepped up, announcing a comprehensive camp-wide combat test. He declared that whoever took first place would be rewarded with their choice of an A-rank martial art or movement technique. Hearing the ultimate prize, Su Hong's eyes gleamed with raw ambition. This was the perfect chance to complete his skill set. Moving to the warehouse testing grounds, the trainees gathered around a massive Tier 2 combat power monitor. Setting the stage for a spectacular reveal, Grandmaster Qin called out the testing order: Lin Xinghe, Xiao Yan, Wang Tiantuo, and finally, Su Hong. The ignorant peanut gallery immediately erupted in whispers of pity, assuming the Grandmaster was brutally punishing the tailender by forcing him to be compared directly against the camp's 3 biggest monsters. Su Hong, however, just smiled knowingly. He realized exactly what Grandmaster Qin was doing. The old man was deliberately setting the stage for him to shock the entire camp. Lin Xinghe stepped up first. With a fierce strike, he scored a base physical power of 4013. Channeling his B-rank cloud-hidden gale punch, swirling green wind wrapped around his fist, sending his final score rocketing to an insane 5,642, a number reaching the standard of a true Tier 2 martial artist. Watching from the crowd, Su Hong's system flared to life, instantly downloading and mastering the B-rank wind technique in seconds. He happily accepted the free skill. Xiao Yan was up next. After a modest physical strike of 3,253, her eyes glowed with raw telekinetic power. Utilizing her spirit weapon condensation art, she manifested a massive radiant golden hammer and slammed it into the machine. Once again, Su Hong's interface chimed, effortlessly copying the spirit reader technique into his arsenal. Watching the elite geniuses lay their ultimate trump cards bare before the monitor, Su Hong grinned wickedly in the shadows. To everyone else, this was a high-stakes combat ranking. To him, it was just a free, all-you-can-eat buffet of high-tier martial arts. Manifesting a massive, radiant golden hammer, she smashed the combat monitor, her score rocketing to a formidable 5,942. Watching from the crowd, Su Hong was incredibly jealous of the explosive telekinetic power. However, his system warned him that the condensation art consumed far too much spirit energy to master instantly. Shrugging it off, he pivoted his hungry gaze to his next target, Wang Tiantuo. The towering brute stepped up and delivered a monstrous physical blow, scoring just shy of Lin Xinghe's wind-boosted technique. Then, channeling his signature A-rank martial art, Wang's fist ignited in eerie white flames. He unleashed the Bone Ghost Nether Fire Fist, slamming the machine for an incredible 7,534, a score approaching the standard of a rank 2 middle stage warrior. Hidden in the crowd, Su Hong grinned as his system interface chimed, effortlessly downloading the highly coveted 2,800-point A-rank technique, absolutely free of charge. Finally, Grandmaster Qin called Su Hong to the stage. The peanut gallery immediately began to mock him, joking that a dead pig isn't afraid of boiling water, and assuming he was about to thoroughly embarrass himself following the top 3 prodigies. Ignoring the whispers, Su Hong stepped up to the monitor. Without utilizing a single drop of martial energy, he delivered a pure, unadulterated physical punch. The heavy machine violently shook. The digital display flashed 6,551. The entire warehouse dropped into a stunned, breathless silence. With pure muscle alone, Su Hong had completely eclipsed the top geniuses. In the crowd, Wang Tiantuo's eyes widened, his previous arrogance instantly dissolving into profound, humbled respect. But Su Hong wasn't done. Granted permission to use a martial art, his system rapidly pushed his newly stolen technique to the entry level. Eerie white flames erupted around Su Hong's fist, leaving the crowd absolutely baffled as they recognized Wang Tiantuo's exclusive signature move. Driving his flaming fist into the monitor, Su Hong scored a reality-breaking, astronomical 9,013, shattering the benchmark for a rank 2 high-stage warrior. Desperately trying to cope with the sheer absurdity of the gap between them, Wang Tiantuo mentally rationalized the defeat. He assumed Su Hong must have been secretly hiding a massive vitality stat of over 500, meaning it was completely honorable to lose to him. A moment later, Su Hong sat inside the camp's vitality testing chamber. The digital monitor above his head read a measly 137. The instructors outside the booth completely lost their minds, screaming in sheer hysteria. Generating 9,000 combat power from only 137 vitality was a mathematical impossibility. It meant the boy's energy to damage conversion rate completely shattered the known laws of cultivation physics. Calming the hysterical, chaotic warehouse, Grandmaster Qin announced the final phase of the comprehensive exam, the actual combat rankings. The matches would operate on a King of the Hill challenge system, with the undisputed number 1 claiming the A-rank prize. Before the echo of the Grandmaster's voice could even fade, the speed genius Lin Xinghe confidently stepped out of the crowd, eagerly challenging Su Hong to a fight. Convinced that Su Hong's absurd combat power was bottlenecked by his low vitality, the speed genius arrogantly planned to simply kite and exhaust him. But before the duel could begin, Grandmaster Qin intervened. Knowing the true depths of the monster he had uncovered, Qin ordered Lin Xinghe, Xiaoyan, and Wang Tiantuo to attack the boy together in a 3-on-1 handicap match. While the elite trio felt deeply insulted by the perceived slight, Su Hong just smiled and calmly accepted. The moment the match began, Lin Xinghe activated his A-rank movement technique, blurring to the flank for a rapid ambush. But the speedster's eyes widened in sheer horror as Su Hong vanished, utilizing the exact same flying swan startling cloud steps. Moving impossibly faster, Su Hong appeared right in front of Lin. With mere inches from Lin's face, he actually dodges, or better said, gets grabbed back by Yan's psychic powers. Xiaoyan immediately locked Su Hong in a telekinetic bind, while Wang Tiantuo charged forward, his fist wreathed in white flames. Lin, at the same time, charges in with his leg, thinking he is some Bruce Lee or something. Watching from the sidelines, Grandmaster Qin frowned, worried that standard physical strength couldn't break a spirit reader's mental control. Su Hong simply smirked. Flexing the raw, monstrous might of his overlord body, he forcibly shattered the psychic hold with pure brute force. The mental backlash sent Xiaoyan stumbling backward, violently coughing up blood. Without missing a beat, Su Hong casually caught these two noobs' attacks, lifted them in the air, and slammed them into the reinforced concrete, shattering the floor and knocking them out for good. Staring at the crater and her two unconscious teammates, a terrified Xiaoyan frantically screamed her surrender. With the rest of the camp immediately withdrawing in fear, Su Hong was crowned the undisputed champion. Walking away from the arena, Grandmaster Qin asked why such a genius had hidden his strength for so long. Su Hong pragmatically replied that without power or influence, showing off too early would only make him a target. Deeply approving of the boy's ruthless intelligence, Qin formally promised to back him against anyone who dared cause him trouble. Arriving at the martial arts pavilion to claim his first-place reward, Qin magnanimously asked Su Hong to list his current martial arts, so he could recommend the perfect A-rank complement. Su Hong casually listed off the Bone Ghost Netherfire Fist, the Flying Swan Startling Cloud Steps, and the Cloud-Hidden Gale Punch. Grandmaster Qin froze, his eye twitching uncontrollably, as he realized the pavilion didn't even own those secret family manuals. Su Hong hadn't just beaten the camp's top geniuses, he had flawlessly pirated their ultimate techniques simply by watching them once. Playing the role of the wise mentor, Qin demonstrated the A-rank Flame Cage, explaining that control-type techniques were incredibly difficult because they required projecting spiritual energy outside the body, a feat usually reserved for rank 3 experts. Watching the demonstration, Su Hong's system flared, instantly downloading the premium technique. Playing the role of the humble, obedient student, Su Hong deliberately pretended to give up, claiming the technique sounded far too difficult for his current level. Unaware that the boy had just pirated the skill right in front of him, Grandmaster Qin nodded in deep approval, thoroughly impressed by Su Hong's lack of arrogance. Suddenly, Qin's phone buzzed. It was an instructor reviewing the tournament logs, frantically reporting that Su Hong had been wearing a weighted vest during his brutal 3-on-1 fight. Stunned, Qin asked the boy to take it off. A polite pavilion clerk offered to put the jacket away for him. Su Hong casually handed it over with a mild warning that it was a bit heavy. The moment the fabric left his hands, the sheer 5-ton weight plummeted like an anvil, and entirely shattering the pavilion tiles. Sweating profusely as he stared at the crater, Grandmaster Qin realized Su Hong had completely obliterated the camp's top geniuses while carrying an entire truck's worth of weight. A wicked, opportunistic grin spread across the old man's face. He immediately decided to take his humanoid monster to Yang City to challenge his rival, Grandmaster Jiang, and trick the man out of his prized A-rank Thunder Spear technique. Later that night, Qin called Grandmaster Jiang to set the trap. Jiang smugly accepted the challenge, bragging that his green-haired prodigy, Lin Chunfeng, possessed a wood spirit body and had already broken through to rank 2. After hanging up the phone, Jiang turned to his elite student with a serious expression. Assuming Grandmaster Qin was just bringing over a weak student to gain some experience, Zhang ordered Lin Chunfeng not to win too easily. He told the boy to act like it was a difficult, evenly matched fight, and win narrowly, purely to save Grandmaster Qin some face. The very next afternoon, Grandmaster Qin flew into the Yang City camp, dropping Su Hong onto the courtyard pavement. Zhang walked out to greet them, expecting a fierce competitor, but his jaw dropped when Qin introduced Su Hong as a mere rank 1 early-stage spear user. Zhang looked at his old rival in sheer disbelief, wondering if Qin had genuinely gone senile. Internally, Zhang began to panic, wondering how on earth he was supposed to instruct his rank 2 prodigy to fake an evenly matched fight against a frail rank 1 student without accidentally killing him. Completely unfazed by the confusion, supremely confident in the walking nuke standing beside him, Qin told Zhang to hurry up and start the match so they could make it back home in time for dinner. The Yang City Underground Fight Club was packed to the brim with eager spectators. The moment Grandmaster Qin and Su Hong stepped onto the arena floor, the crowd began to loudly jeer. Sensing that the Star City challenger was only a rank 1 early-stage beginner, they mocked him mercilessly, boasting that their rank 2 prodigy, Lin Chunfeng, could crush the kid with one hand tied behind his back. Standing near the viewing platform, Lin Chunfeng was sweating profusely, not from fear, but from the immense stress of trying to figure out how to fake a close fight, without accidentally killing his fragile opponent in one strike. Supremely confident in a flawless victory, Grandmaster Jiang threw his old rival a bone. He graciously offered Su Hong an additional A-rank technique of his own choosing, if the boy somehow managed to win. Su Hong eagerly thanked him, practically salivating at the thought of adding another premium skill to his growing collection. When the match finally began, Lin Chunfeng noticed his opponent was empty-handed. When Su Hong casually mentioned he wouldn't need his spear, Lin misunderstood the flex as pure arrogance and lunged forward with his sword. Su Hong effortlessly blurred out of the way, using his flying swan startling cloud steps. Realizing the boy had an A-rank movement technique, Lin got serious, casting the A-rank wood prison. Thick, green vines erupted from the tiles, instantly entangling Su Hong. Remembering Grandmaster Qin's warning about how difficult control techniques were to break, Su Hong decided to test his Overlord body. With a casual flex of pure, unadulterated brute force, he shattered the A-rank wood cage into a shower of dissipating green light. Shocked that his trap hadn't held for even a second, Lin threw up a wood evasion barrier just in time to catch Su Hong's advancing punch, but the boy's raw physical might blew right through the thick vines, sending the rank 2 prodigy skidding backward across the arena. As the crowd screamed in absolute disbelief, Lin struck a cocky pose, feeding the bewildered prodigy classic arrogant dialogue. He advises Su Hong to surrender. Before Su Hong could even care in the slightest about those words, Su Hong raised his hand. A massive, roaring flame cage erupted from the floor, trapping Lin inside a localized inferno. On the viewing platform, Grandmaster Qin completely lost his mind, screaming in shock that his student had mastered a control technique overnight. Grandmaster Jiang angrily grabbed his rival's collar, demanding to know where the fire attribute came from, and why Qin was so surprised by a technique he supposedly taught the boy. Down in the arena, a terrified Lin Chunfeng desperately coped with his reality. Sweating inside the blazing trap, he arrogantly declared that there was no way a rank 1 could maintain a control cage and cast an offensive technique at the same time. Bingo! Su Hong smiled wickedly, igniting his fist with the white-hot flames of the Bone Ghost Nether Fire Fist. Su Hong charged in, flawlessly dual-casting both A-rank arts. Lin frantically threw up another wood evasion shield. The flaming fists slammed into Lin's chest, sending the Yang City prodigy violently flying backward through his own shattered defenses, coughing up blood before he even hit the ground. Thank you for watching. See you next time.